Welcome in to the Standard. We're back with Jack again for another episode. Jack, how you doing? What's happened since the last time we have spoken? It's been a minute.
Well, I don't think anything of note has happened except for the biggest game in all of sports. So I feel like that's a good talking point to start with here.
Well, that is a good place to start. The Kansas City Chiefs are your Super Bowl champions again. I'm not surprised. I think we both picked the Chiefs to win this game. Patrick Mahomes is inevitable. You could have not watched that game for the first three quarters and been thoroughly entertained by the fourth quarter and overtime. Genuinely one of the more entertaining endings to a Super Bowl I can remember seeing in my entire life. Genuinely, I thought it was that good of an ending.
I mean, yeah, I think everybody loves to complain about things because that's what people on the internet do. They complain about everything. But that Super Bowl is awesome. The two worst teams to have in the Super Bowl, okay. I want to be entertained. I thought they were the two best teams all year. Maybe not all year. I think the Ravens probably had a better first 20 weeks than the Chiefs did, but I thought they were the two best teams in the Super Bowl, and it definitely did provide for a very entertaining game. So I was happy with it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you had to see Taylor Swift on your screen for 30 seconds, and Travis Kelce won the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs dynasty is well underway. Patrick Mahomes is 28 years old and has 3 Super Bowl titles, and he's already the best quarterback to ever play the game. Now, Jack, I don't know how you agree with that take or if you disagree with that take. Everybody I talk to, I think, has a very different opinion. When I talk about Patrick Mahomes being the greatest I've ever seen play, he's more talented than Brady ever was. Brady never, in my lifetime, played to this degree, down 10 in all 3 of his Super Bowls, coming back to win all of them. And, I look at Mahomes' first MVP season as sort of an outlier. What other quarterbacks have thrown 50 touchdowns and won an MVP in the same season? Peyton Manning, end of list. It's pretty good company. By the way, more Super Bowl titles than Peyton Manning, more Super Bowl titles than Ben Roethlisberger, which I know is going to ruffle some feathers. And he's got 2 MVPs. He's not showing any signs of slowing down. It was sort of demoralizing, honestly, watching the game because I get depressed. The Steelers are never going to be this good, ever. They're never going to be half this good. They're never going to have half the quarterback that Patrick Mahomes is. It's sort of depressing to watch how good this Chiefs team is. But as a guy who grew up hating the Patriots dynasty because, there were some years that the Steelers were really good and they could just never get past the Patriots, I don't mind. I'm not necessarily rooting for the Chiefs to go out and win every year, but I don't hate watching them win as much as I hated watching Brady win every year, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there definitely are some unlikable parts of the Chiefs and their organization as a whole, but I really enjoy watching Patrick Mahomes play. And like you said, I think in my mind, when I think of the GOAT debate, I think there's a fine line between the greatest and the best
Correct.
ever. I think Tom Brady is the greatest, or at least the most accomplished. That's how I view it. Most accomplished is the greatest in the NFL. But I do think there's never been a quarterback, at least at this point, that's been better than Patrick Mahomes is right now. I think the guy's absolutely incredible, and it's insane what he's done. And what is he, only 28 right now? I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it makes me feel bad as a 21-year-old who I'm not going to have 3 Super Bowl titles by the time I'm 28. I can guarantee you that much. I wanted to find this tweet that I had about Patrick Mahomes and his fourth quarter game-winning drives. But no, I definitely agree. I don't hate rooting for this Chiefs team like I did, not root for the Patriots, like I said. But I think in general, this was the year for the NFL to sort of beat the Chiefs. And they didn't. And, you won a Super Bowl with Rashee Rice as your wide receiver 1. And no hate to Rashee Rice. I think he's a great player, and he's going to be a very solid receiver, especially on that Chiefs team for years to come. But, dude, it was Rashee Rice, SMU wide receiver, who was your number 1 target. Here it is, the Mahomes tweet. Since 2001, there have been 125 drives in the NFL postseason where it was at least the fourth quarter, there was under a minute left to play, and the team on offense trailed by 7 points or fewer at the start. These are your standard clutch moments for a football team, the do-or-die drives that win and lose critical games. Out of those 125 drives, only 40% of them saw the team on offense pull off the magic trick and get the points they needed. Some quarterbacks are pretty good at it, such as Tom Brady, who went 5 for 11 in those situations. Drew Brees went 3 for 6. Only Patrick Mahomes is 7 for 7 in those scenarios. There was no doubt when he got the ball with 1:53 and 2 timeouts. I knew immediately. I'm like, well, they gave him too much time. And the 49ers abandoned the run game in the second half for the most part, especially at the end there. Several chances to close it out, a chance to win it in overtime. Purdy couldn't deliver. And I know you were happy to see that, Jack. I know you were happy to see Purdy not deliver in that situation.
I mean, listen, I don't dislike Brock Purdy as
Yeah, you do. Oh, okay.
It's a cool story, obviously. Borderline undrafted, Mr. Irrelevant to almost winning the Super Bowl. And if you wanted to point to a couple reasons why the 49ers didn't win that game, I think you could label Brock Purdy as one of them. I mean, I don't think he played glaringly bad, but when he had chances to hit guys downfield, it seemed like he overthrew them almost every single time. And I don't think he played incredible. And I don't think he played up to par with the rest of the team. So, I don't know.
Do you think Juwan Jennings would have gotten the MVP if they would have won that game? Seriously? Because they can take into account that if they would have won that game, that would probably mean that Brock Purdy threw another touchdown.
Well, I thought Purdy had no chance after Juwan Jennings threw the first touchdown of the game. I was following the odds like live for Super Bowl MVP. After Jennings scored a second touchdown, he was the favorite for the 49ers to win the Super Bowl MVP. I thought really the only other guy that had a chance was McCaffrey, because what did he have, like 160 total yards and a touchdown? Yeah. He fumbled. Who cares? It was a nice play. I thought it was either going to be McCaffrey or Jennings if they did win that game. So, I don't know. I don't think Purdy had a chance at it.
Okay. So, I think that was our Super Bowl thoughts. Quick, easy, not too much to say. Patrick Mahomes, the greatest quarterback we've ever seen to this point. And it's going to be hard for the Steelers to even sort of try to catch him. But, we'll see what Omar Khan can cook up, I guess. I have false hope. As long as there is delusion, there is hope. I don't know who said that, but that's like one of those Bleacher Report quote memes. You know what I'm talking about? Anyways, we'll move on here. We want to have weekly segments on this podcast, weekly games, weekly things we talk about, ideas. If you have any ideas, talk to us. Let us know down below.
Please.
We're going to do the Immaculate Grid right now. We looked at some websites, at some grids before. The website we're going to use is ImmaculateGrid.com. There was one on DynastyDaddy.com. If any of you play Dynasty Fantasy Football, you're probably familiar with that website. And it had the Steelers, so we're like, oh, we'll do that one. But it had TCU, and, me and Jack, we're both pretty knowledgeable about the Steelers. I think that's fair to say at this point. Who the fuck went to TCU and played for the Steelers? Can anybody let me know? Anybody?
I was looking. I was scrolling through TCU alumni and like the teams they played for. I think the last the last guy that was drafted to the Steelers from TCU was drafted in 1960. I mean, there could be some guys like Straggler here and there that didn't start their career with the Steelers, but I seriously can't think of one. I can't.
Exactly. So I would like to, name guys that didn't play in the Stone Age. I want to get some rare ones. I'm all for that. I don't know guys that played in the 50s and 60s, okay? I'm sorry. Just not my cup of tea. All right, so here's the grid. This one, significantly easier in my mind. We were debating on how much time we should get. I'm going to give us 5 minutes.
Should we go for just to fill out the grid or for the lowest rarity score possible?
I don't know. I feel like we want to have a pretty good balance. If you know somebody that's pretty rare, but I'll update the time. I'll keep us updated. So, we can probably name a lot of these pretty easily.
Right.
But I want to make sure that we have, enough time. All right. All right. I'm going to start. Watch. Are you ready?
Yes, I believe I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Time starts now. Now, Vikings. I've done some grids in my day. Vikings, 1,000 rushing yards. What do you know about Mo Williams?
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't know if is it with an E? Mo Williams.
Yes,
yep. What? Am I tripping? Mo Williams. Is there another Mo Williams? Am I losing my mind?
All right, we're 0 for 1 here.
Mo Williams played for the Vikings.
That's a bad start.
All right, we got to move on. We got to move on.
Wait, did he have to have the 1,000-yard season with that team?
I don't think he did. No,
Yeah, I think
definitely
that's
not.
what it is. I was gonna say Niners, Raiders, Michael Crabtree. I think that might be a common answer, but
That might be a
I know
common
that
answer,
one is.
but
I know that one's at least right.
we will take that one because it is right. Michael Crabtree. I don't know why I just didn't type in Crabtree. I'm choking, guys. I apologize. Hall of
What's that?
Fame for
Oh,
8%. That's
8%. It's a
not
pretty good
bad
one.
at all. Good guess
Yeah.
right there. Good poll. 49ers Hall of Famer. This one,
There's a lot
ooh,
of answers.
there's a lot of
Um,
answers.
I'm trying to think of a guy that played for the 49ers towards the end of his career or something that's a Hall of Famer.
5,000 plus yards receiving career. Did Martavis Bryant have 5,000 yards in his career? No way, right?
Ooh.
I'm
I'm trying to think of.
I don't feel good about this.
I don't.
No,
Yeah.
okay. I'm sorry. I'm 0 for 2. I'm choking right now. Okay.
5,000 yards receiving in Hall of Fame. Let's just think of some random obscure guy that's like a Hall of Famer. Not obscure, but one of the guys that you don't think anybody would pick.
Yeah, we're
Go with, like,
closing in on 2 minutes in, so we're going to have to fucking move here. We are
let's
going to have to.
go with like what about like Lynn Swan? Is he a Hall of Famer? I want to say he
He
is.
has to be. Absolutely. Lynn Swan. Good pull right there.
There you go.
3% too. 1,000 rushing yards
I'm
in a
surprised
season.
3% of the people saw that and picked Lynn Swan.
We'll go Jerome Bettis.
That's a good one.
3%. That's another one. 5,000 receiving yards in a career. Vikings. We're 2.5 minutes in, so we're about half the time. 5,000 receiving yards in a career for the Raiders. That one I don't think is. We'll go Bolitnikoff, right?
Did he play for the Raiders?
Bolitnikoff definitely did. Right? Yes.
That's a good answer.
Okay.
That's a good answer.
Raiders 1,000 rushing yards again here. Could go Jacobs. I want to go McFadden. I feel like that might.
No, I was going to say Doug Martin, but it has to be with that team.
Oh, you're right.
That's a good answer too.
Ooh.
Vikings 5,000 yards. I'm trying to think of a slightly obscure one.
Like Chris Carter, we know that one.
Yeah,
But
this one's different because it could be anybody that played for the Vikings at some point.
3 minutes and 20 seconds in, I think we're going to get it. We're just going to have to not be as rare as we'd like. I might have to give us more time next time. Might have to, I don't know.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, Vikings 1,000 yards. Like Adrian Peterson, I know.
Dalvin Cook, obvious.
Dalvin Cook. I'm trying to think of before that. I swear Mo Williams played for the Vikings. I'm going to look that up when time is up here.
I can't think of.
In about a minute right here. All right,
Who do you think
5,000.
the best pick between Cook and Adrian Peterson?
Probably Dalvin's probably rare if I had
That's
to
what
guess.
I was thinking.
And he's 29%, so not exactly great. 5,000 yards receiving career. Can we do Stephon Diggs?
Okay, well, 7 for 9.
Oh, okay. I forgot it only gives you one guess per square.
Yeah.
So you know what?
All right. There was a way to keep. Maybe that's a different website. I thought there was a way to keep going.
Yes, that's on the other website. Okay. So you know what? 7 for 9. We choked. We weren't ready. The lights were too bright.
No, the lights were too bright.
The moment was too big for us. We didn't know what we were doing. We're going to switch to the other website next episode. Yes. We're going to put it on unlimited, and we're gonna give ourselves a little bit more time, and we're gonna go for really rare. Okay, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna think. We're gonna have one of those moments where we sit and go through early 2000s, football players, and we'll see who can name the rarest one ever. So that was the first edition of Immaculate Grid. That was good.
Yeah,
that was good.
Solid.
All right. What do you want to do? Do you want to talk about the cuts, or do you want to jump into the list?
Whatever you would rather do. I know my thoughts on both of those things, so ready for whatever.
Well, I told Jack earlier in the week we were talking about, quarterbacks. We'll get into much later. We'll get into it a lot about how the Steelers are currently odds-on favorites for quarterbacks like Russell Wilson, like Justin Fields. But there's a report this morning that they're doubling down on Kenny Pickett and his development, and they don't want a veteran quarterback. We'll get into both of those guys in a little bit. We're gonna adjust the list. Jack has been a hater of the list since I made it in a post-game live, the famous, infamous list. I made a list of quarterbacks, shared it on an earlier podcast episode. Here it is, the list of quarterbacks better than Kenny Pickett. Now, I preface this by saying you're looking at it. There are probably some names on here. A little ridiculous, not going to lie. Probably some names, hand up, at the time, they were better. They were playing better. They looked better. And some names right now that I'm willing to take off. And as a man, I can change and I can adapt. And I can take some names off this list right here. I haven't touched this list since I made it, really. Like, I think I tweaked it a week or two after I made it because I added, like, all the first-round quarterbacks in this draft, or, like, all the top 5 quarterbacks in this draft. And then I just let it be. So here it is. We'll start. Let me know when you have an issue with anybody. Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Burrow, Lamar, Hurts, Tua, Rodgers, Russ. Odds-on favorite for him, by the way, is Omar Khan and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Gardner Minshew, Will Levis. Okay. Okay. What's your discrepancy with that one?
Gardner Minshew sucks. I have a friend.
He does.
By the name of Colts Report on Instagram. Great account, by the way. Go follow.
He will follow John. John's a good guy.
I do like John. The Colts have, like, I could be wrong here. I'm not an expert on offensive lines in the NFL. The Colts have a very, very good offensive line, a great running game, and around Gardner Minshew, young, promising offense, good defense, could not get them to the playoffs. Terrible throw on 4th down.
Won 10 games.
Okay. Steelers won 10 games too. With a banged-up defense and not an incredible offense. Gardner Minshew, he stinks. I don't think I need to elaborate any further than that. He also has no ice in the veins, unlike Kenny Pickett, because 4th down, game on the line, throws the ball at the feet of his third-string running back. Not a very good throw. Anyway, continue.
And I'm not denying that Gardner Minshew stinks, by the way, guys. I'm just trying to put it in perspective how bad our quarterback play has been and how all of us are sort of, just okay with it and willing to go with it for another year, which, the Steelers just might, and I can't begin to talk about how ridiculous that is. But Gardner Minshew this year, 15 touchdowns, 9 picks. How would you feel if Kenny Pickett threw 15 touchdowns and 9 picks?
Probably like exactly how I felt it. Well, what was his touchdown interception? Like
Kenny Pickett?
Yeah.
I think it was like 6-5 or something like that.
I think it was like 6-4 or something.
Maybe.
But listen,
something.
He was picking up the play whenever Canada got fired until he got hurt.
So oh my goodness! I'm not for.
He was.
And I'm not for pointing to this one game without Canada because at the end of the day, didn't throw a touchdown. At the end of the day.
Deontay Johnson.
How many points did the offense score?
We had 16, over 400 yards for the first time in like 3 seasons, and he only didn't throw a touchdown because 1, Tomlin didn't throw the challenge flag, or 2, Deontay Johnson didn't hang on to the ball. You can pick your poison, whichever one you want to have. And he did throw that ball on the money. Should have been a touchdown. So
okay, I think it should have been a touchdown as well. But Mason comes in, averages 30 points, and we put up 400 yards.
We maybe could have scored 30 points in that Bengals game if it weren't for Jalen Warren fumbling and also Deontay staring at the football or just like not paying.
Deontay didn't care.
Discussion for a different day, but I think whatever. This is an irrelevant argument. But
okay. So Gardner Minshew is one of those names that I think I'm going to hold firm on right now because do you really think that Kenny Pickett is that? Like, do you think he's definitively better than Gardner Minshew right now?
Yes, I think if we started Gardner Minshew all year, we would have missed the playoffs.
Okay, fair. So, I want to get down this list, and I want to argue some more, guys. All right, Will Levis, Ryan Tannehill.
Yep.
I'm willing to take Ryan Tannehill off.
This is going to be my point with it. If you're going to add quarterbacks in the upcoming draft, you're assuming they're going to be better next year. You can assume Ryan Tannehill is going to be worse next year. So
yeah, very fair. I think that is a fair one that I'm willing to take off. All right. Ryan Tannehill's off the list. Dak Prescott, Sam Howell.
Sam Howell
okay.
He's really bad.
Sam Howell is really bad. Okay. But Sam Howell, I kind of feel bad for him. I do. Kenny Pickett, I don't feel bad for. Sorry. Sam Howell, I feel bad for. Washington, horrendous O-line. No defense. I mean, traded away their 2 edge rushers at the deadline. Eric Bieniemy, he's not even on a coaching staff right now. He used Sam Howell like he was Patrick Mahomes. So for that, I feel bad for Sam Howell. But I can't definitively say he's better than Kenny. I can't say Kenny's any better, but I can't say he's any worse. So, you know what? We'll take him off, too. There you go.
If Sam Howell continued his play from weeks, I don't know the exact number, somewhere there was a 5-week stretch in the middle of the season where he was playing pretty well. He was absolutely awful the last I don't know how many weeks, and he got benched. They were down. They were getting killed by the Jets, and they pulled him. They were down 24 points or something, and they brought in Jacoby Brissett, and he almost led a comeback. He took the lead, and the Jets had to kick a game-winning field goal. But yeah,
and wasn't Howell supposed to get benched, and then Brissett got hurt or something like that?
I think so. Yeah,
that's okay.
He continued to play bad.
Okay, so this list was made. When the hell did I make this list? Early November, late October, early November, I want to say the list was made. It was not that long ago, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. All right, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, Geno Smith. This is not obviously in order. Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, Jared Goff, Josh Dobbs. Let me just go ahead, take that one off. Now, I made this during the Josh Dobbs Insanity run where nobody could say anything.
Josh Dobbs followed up his insanity run with some of the worst quarterback play you'll ever see in your life. I think on that Monday night game, I think it was against the Bears, he threw 4 picks, and then the game after that, he went into middle of the fourth quarter with 0 points, and they benched him, and Mullins came in and won the game. So he was bad.
Side note: Nick Mullins is pretty fun to watch. I think if I wanted a backup quarterback, I like Nick Mullins. He throws for 300 yards. He might throw a couple touchdowns, but he's going to throw 2 picks. I like that roller coaster sort of. You don't know what you're going to get with a backup.
Do that. I respect teams that when they have their backups come in, they continue to chuck the ball. I like that.
I love that shit.
They play like Kirk Cousins.
Speaking of which, Kirk Cousins next on the list right here. He's monitoring the Steelers situation. So you know what, Jordan Love. I remember when there was a point in time not too long ago, Steelers fans would tell me that Kenny Pickett was better than Jordan Love.
You know what's funny? When we were on those lives, post game, weeks 3, 4, whatever. Parker was more aggressive with Kenny Pickett's ranking than I was. He was the one that had him top 15, 14.
Yeah, Parker had him top 12, I believe, at one point. It was a little ridiculous.
Anyway,
we need to have Parker.
Dark Horse MVP candidate for next year. So
I agree. I think Jordan Love and CJ Stroud are going to be.
I don't even know if it's Dark Horse anymore. I think it's a consensus opinion that he's really.
I was going to say I think Jordan Love and CJ Stroud are going to be 2 of the most bet on people to win MVP. Now, you want to talk about a dark horse for MVP? We can talk about Anthony Richardson. We can talk about that in that
Kenny
Colts
Pickett,
team.
according to that one Instagram post.
Justin Fields. Yep. We're gonna talk a whole lot about Mr. Fields here. I'm in love with Justin Fields. I'm enamored with Justin Fields. I'm not saying he's the guy. I'm not saying it would be the answer.
But at the same time, he is the guy and he is the answer. So
it would be fun.
Listen, Omar Khan, pick up the phone.
Yep. Derek Carr.
This is my take on Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is Kenny Pickett if you put him in the Saints offense and let him chuck the ball.
Okay, I think Derek Carr this year, as much as Saints fans hate him, and I get where Saints fans are coming from because this was the year, just suck. The Saints can never learn to just fucking suck for 1 year. And it's like the Steelers. But the Saints are much worse off than the Steelers, I want to say, because they've invested so much money into Derek Carr. Derek Carr was not bad by any stretch of the imagination this year, I don't think. I don't have his exact numbers pulled up, but there was one of those Twitter memes where it's like, oh, he had the same touchdown to interception ratio as Lamar Jackson, who won the MVP.
Only problem is he played in the NFC South and finished 3rd or something in that division. So
I'm keeping Derek Carr on the list for right now, personally.
I think it's closer than you might think.
But I think it is I think it is closer, and I'm not saying Derek Carr is good again by any stretch of the imagination. Baker Mayfield, yep. Bryce Young, I'm keeping Bryce Young. There's nothing
Bryce
Okay.
Young. The Panthers failed Bryce Young. He's gonna be good.
Absolutely
He's gonna be good. There's my
nothing.
favorite clip. Like he drops back to pass. It's like a 4-man rush. He just gets absolutely mauled. Like, he gets sacked by like all 4 players. It's insane. And his receivers suck. Jonathan Mingo, they drafted in the second round for some reason because they think they're smart or something. They drafted a guy that wasn't supposed to go in the second round to help out their quarterback that they traded up for. He sucks. If you watch there was some highlight of Jonathan Mingo this year where he tries to like invert toe tap on the sideline. Like he tried to toe tap on the sideline. He did everything he could to not catch the ball. It was crazy. He sucks. Adam Thielen, if Adam Thielen's your wide receiver 1, I don't care. He put up good numbers in fantasy. Adam Thielen's not that good. He just gets peppered with targets because nobody else on that offense like has an ounce of football talent. Anyway, continue.
I think Dave Canales is going to do wonders for Bryce Young, just like he did for Baker Mayfield and just like he did for Geno Smith out in Seattle. I love that hire for the Panthers, genuinely. I think you can pencil in whatever wide receiver falls out of the first round for the Panthers. You can pencil that in at 33 for them. I think you need to get Bryce Young some receiver in free agency. I don't know who's willing to come to Carolina right now because the situation ain't that good, obviously. But I think Bryce Young has infinitely more potential than something you could get from a guy like Kenny Pickett. All right, we'll move down. Daniel Jones.
I want to throw it out there that how many weeks did Daniel Jones play this year before he tore his ACL?
It was 4 or 5, I want to say.
I want to say that he was playing worse than Kenny Pickett.
Oh, it was ugly.
ACL. It was really ugly. He has a pretty bad situation around him, so we'll give him a pass. However, the next guy, get Tommy DeVito off the list.
Yeah. My Danny Dimes take. Danny Dimes played like a borderline top 10 quarterback his first year with Brian Daboll. And this year, it was just a totally different story. I'm going to give him a pass. The contract is bad. Not going to lie. I wouldn't pay Daniel Jones 40. It's really, really bad. And they're almost stuck with him for another year, honestly. But the situation's not good. He's coming off a torn ACL. It's just such a weird situation with him in New York where we're going on, year 6 of him being their quarterback? My God. Okay, Tommy DeVito. Again, made it at the height of the Tommy DeVito hype train. And Tommy DeVito finished the season with more passing touchdowns. He has more career multi-touchdown passing games than Kenny Pickett. But I'll take him off the list for you.
I think that also has a lot to do with the fact that the Giants had absolutely nothing to lose and the Steelers were fighting for a playoff spot, so they didn't want to just go out there and let their quarterback sling the ball all over the place.
Fair.
Anyway. Rudolph, Skip, yeah, he's better.
Yep.
However, I don't want to give Mason Rudolph money, and I don't think he wants to come back either. So,
I wouldn't be mad at a Mason contract that looked something like Mitch's.
Yeah, sure.
But I think he is going to command more. I think people are going to be surprised at the contract that somebody throws Mason Rudolph. I think it's going to be kind of funny, honestly. But I hope he goes and fucking kills it because I love Mason. All right. Flacco. Yeah.
Flacco.
Yeah.
I think he's terrible. Linsanity run, whatever. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and shit on the guy because he's old and came off the couch, but I think he stinks. Yeah, that's my take on Joe Flacco.
Jimmy G. Horrid this year.
Performance-enhancing drugs and still was absolutely terrible. So, yeah.
That enough.
Devontae Adams was genuinely like losing his mind. It was worse than George Pickens.
We'll take Jameis off there too. Even though I do believe that Jameis
was on the list.
Oh yeah, Jameis was on the list. All right, and then we have Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, Bo Nix.
I think you can get rid of one of Penix or Nix.
And Penix is a guy that me and Jack like a lot, but I just don't see it when I look at him. I'm going to add JJ McCarthy to the list, actually.
Not as of now.
I'm going to put JJ McCarthy there.
He's more of a developmental guy. He's not going to be great as soon as he comes into the league.
I'm becoming somewhat of a JJ McCarthy.
If you add JJ McCarthy, you have to take Joe Flacco off.
Okay, we'll just keep it like this for now, okay. if that's the stipulation.
Because if you're adding guys that you think are going to be better next year, then you have to take off old guys that are obviously going to regress.
because I don't know if you saw the report that some NFC team thinks that J.J. McCarthy is the second best quarterback in the draft. I'm willing to bet I think I know who that team is, and I think it's the Vikings sitting there at number 11 overall. And I would not be surprised at all if the Vikings sat there and took J.J. McCarthy at 11. I
I
wouldn't be
also
surprised.
I also have a theory that whenever you see those reports, that one like NFC executive from the team says they have JJ McCarthy at quarterback too. I think they're all just made up. It's all to create like whatever draft buzz. Like same thing with Will Levis. There was like something about how he was like supposed to climb to quarterback too, and it's just like he didn't even go to the second round. I don't know. I think all these rumors, especially when they're anonymous, I think they're all sometimes made up. I don't know.
Side note, what were your quarterback rankings last draft? Do you remember
I
like the
had
top four? Because
I
I
had
think me and you both had Richardson one.
I had Richardson, Stroud, Young, Levis.
Okay, so that's actually not that bad. Although,
No.
we all should have had Stroud one in
Yeah.
hindsight, but hindsight's 2020. I had Richardson, Young, Stroud, and Levis. And I'm not going to let that same thing happen with Stroud like I did, where I admittedly, I was kind of like, Ohio State, like, what if he can't win from structure anymore? He's not going to have these. I'm not going to do that ever again. CJ Stroud, I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry. I still think Bryce Young's very good. Will he ever be to the level that CJ Stroud is? I don't know. Probably not. Hard to say. It's really hard to replicate what CJ Stroud just did at any point in your career. But, that's the list. Congratulations, Kenny Pickett fans. He's, the top 35 quarterback, perhaps.
There you go.
So that's the list. We needed to update that. It's a fluctuating list, so we can add and take away when need be. But those are our, that's the list. All right. So early in the week, we got news of 3 releases for the Steelers. Mitch Trubisky, cut. Chukwumo Okorafor, cut. Presley Harvin, cut. I guess we'll start with Mitch. And Mitch, A+ human being. You're never going to be able to take that away from him. And Mitch is a guy that I rooted for a lot, and I got a lot of shit for. And I love Mitch as a person, and he's a guy that I don't think is very hard to root for, but he's just not good. And it's really sad. It's really, really sad that he's really bad, because I loved him. He's been a class act. At training camp, he was always willing to meet fans. Very good guy. Just got a lot of hate. I think he was treated unfairly, especially last season, by the fans who just wanted to see Kenny. And I get it, trust me. But to say he wasn't treated unfairly by the fans, I think is a little ridiculous. But that's not excusing. He was not good at all for the Steelers. I heard somebody call it one of the worst free agent signings in Steeler history. Again, not gonna back it. Not gonna back it. But I'll always be a fan of Mitch. Got me on pardon my take, but that's my Mitch Trubisky take. I hope he goes somewhere and succeeds, although I know it won't happen. Go to the Chiefs and win a bowl, buddy. Shout out Mitch.
I mean, listen, Mitch obviously met him before training camp. Great guy, great human being. Took pictures with everybody, signed anything. Not a good quarterback, like you said. I mean, I think he was treated unfairly by the fan base because he's a good human being, not because he's a good quarterback. I think if you took out the human aspect part of it, I think it was warranted how the fan base thought of Mitch Trubisky. But he's a great human, doesn't deserve all the hate. He wasn't supposed to. Well, I mean, he's not supposed to be. As of now, he's not supposed to be good. We should have known that he wasn't supposed to do anything whenever he came in
Yeah.
for us starting. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't good. It was pretty expected, if you ask me. But he's a great guy, so it's sad to see him go.
It's really sad that all we could say is he's a great guy, because it just wasn't good. And we should have known, because what did he do? He was terrible in Chicago. He was good in Chicago for 1 year. Terrible in Chicago. Ended really poorly there. He goes to Buffalo for a year, backs up Josh Allen, and all of a sudden the Steelers are willing to sign him. So he didn't really do anything, I guess, to warrant us thinking that he would be good. And I don't wish what we did with Mitch and Kenny on any fan base, because you know what Jack, you know what situation never works in the NFL? When you bring in a veteran that's not very good and you start him and you draft a rookie in the mid to late first round, or you draft a rookie in general.
How we handled that made absolutely no sense.
Because there's no good way to handle it, really, other than not signing the veteran whatsoever.
Just start Kenny Pickett. Like, if you're going to draft him in the first round, just let him play. Listen. You can say Kenny Pickett played terrible. That's true. He did. He hasn't been good so far in his career. I somewhat feel for him because of the way his rookie season was handled. I thought it was absolutely terrible. His first NFL start, he didn't touch the ball until we were down 14-0.
Horrible.
Because the Bills scored, and then we fumbled on the kickoff, and then they scored again. And we had the ball. His first touch of the football, we were down 14-0 on the road against one of the best teams in the league. So, listen, I thought his rookie season was handled terribly by the organization. I think it's still being handled terribly. I don't know. I kind of feel for him because of the way that was handled, but it's whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the way I've been very critical of Tomlin, recently, especially it kind of started. My eyes really opened up that Jets game when he put Kenny in, because I don't think that was the time to put him in personally. I would have gave him a fresh game, a fresh start, not down 14-0, not having to go in there, chucking the ball deep to Claypool on the first play. And I don't think Mitch did really anything to deserve a benching in that game. Like, I don't think Mitch had a pick in that game. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, I think
I
down
don't think he did.
14-0 at home to Zach Wilson's good enough. But
And Zach Wilson did gritty in our end zone. We were talking about that.
That is true.
That I don't think that's talked about enough in Steelers history. The fact that Zach Wilson hit the fucking gritty in our end zone.
We just can't beat the Jets at home when they're terrible. I don't know what it is. We can't do it.
Remember when Sam Darnold cooked us?
Yep.
That was the time. So that concludes the Mitch Trubisky segment of this episode. Love you, Mitch. We'll move on. Chukwuma Okorafor. Gone. Get him out of here. But you know what? Me and Jack were talking about this a little bit before the pod. I stand with Chukwuma Okorafor. I stand with Jux. Because he called out the play calling after the Jaguars game. Said we might as well kneel it out. And Tomlin benched him. And he's kind of, just been chilling. Not happy. It was expected to happen. A guy we're paying a pretty decent amount of money. He's up there for highest paid player on the offense, I want to say. He might be the highest paid, honestly. No, I think that's Samalo. Pretty sure. Deontay, yeah. Oh, he's getting Why would you remind me of the Deontay Johnson contract? Why?
Listen, I don't think if you look at the recent Deontay, sure, maybe not worth $18 million. If you look at the contracts that receivers are getting nowadays, I don't have the exact number, but guys like Christian Kirk are getting paid like crazy amounts of money. So I really don't think $18 million is completely out of the blue for Deontay. I don't think it's like unbelievably, terribly overpaid, but is what it is.
It's unfortunate. Chuck's gone. I don't really know how to feel about it. I saw a report that on the wire, Chuck's is not actually a free agent yet. So maybe the Steelers got a late offer. I don't know when we can hear about that. Maybe they're going to keep him. Me and Jack did look up. Trades start the same day as free agency. So March 13th. That'll be a fun time. That'll be a really fun time. But Jack, I'll let you start on this one. Presley Harvin. The fat punter is gone. The fat punter is gone. Hallelujah.
Listen, Presley Harvin, cool guy, took a picture with me at training camp. There's really nothing much else to say about Presley Harvin. He was a terrible punter. I don't know why he exactly lasted as long as he did on the Steelers, but I'm happy that he's gone because we finally get a punter that's competent now. There's not really much else to talk about with Presley Harvin. He wasn't good.
Yeah, and, Andrew Filipponi had a very good tweet, and he has a lot of very good tweets, but maybe not in the sense that this one was very good. The Steelers couldn't wait to cut Presley Harvin. They ran right to cut him as soon as the season ended, but they trusted him going into Buffalo to punt. They trusted him late in the season when he was pinning teams inside the 50, constantly giving less than 30-yard punts. Horrible. It just complete malpractice, again, in my opinion. Troy Taylor. We did a mock draft. Troy Taylor, punter from Iowa. It's starting to all come together. Are there any good free agent punters? I don't know. Hold on. Let's look at the free agent punters here.
Free agent punters.
This is what we're doing right here on the standard. Free agent punters is what I'm typing into Google right now. Sporttrack.com. Let's go. Punter. Rigoberto Sanchez is a free agent. Isn't he good?
Isn't he a lefty?
Yeah. Tommy Townsend from the Chiefs. Did you see his fucking boots in the Super Bowl? Hold on. Hold the phone. Tommy Townsend, top of my free agent wish list. We're going to have to do one of those episodes in a couple weeks here pretty soon. Tommy Townsend, he's on my list. He's on my list. Number one, I'd give him the bag. He's unbelievable. Yep. All right. That concludes my punter spiel. All right. Final segment of the episode here. We need to talk about all of these quarterbacks that the Steelers are favored to get. They're the odds-on favorites for Justin Fields, so we feel it's appropriate to finally start talking about Justin Fields. They're the odds-on favorites for Russell Wilson. And there's a report from Pro Football Talk that there's an internal struggle between whether Kenny Pickett or Mason Rudolph will be the starting quarterback for 2024. Can we pick a lane? I just want to say,
I don't get how this whole thing works. Like, how are we? I'm assuming now, if you look on the sports books, we're probably not odds-on favorites. Maybe we might be the team that has the best odds for Justin Fields. But we're probably not like minus 120 anymore because somehow we're also minus 120 to get Russell Wilson. I don't get it. I really don't. I just really hope it's not Russell Wilson. I don't know. You might have a different take than that. But.
You see, I think Russell Wilson, although clearly better than anything we have currently, I don't think it really helps us any. Like, what is Russell Wilson going to win us? The same thing, 9, 10 games.
Any better? Would we have been any better if Russell Wilson?
No, I don't think so. And I made a post about Russell Wilson yesterday on Instagram, and an account that's pretty well followed, I'm not going to name them, they commented, why does everybody want Fields but doesn't want Russell Wilson? They deleted their comment after I replied, Russ simply has zero upside. Fields, regardless of what you think of Justin Fields, I think he still has, at least if you hate him, you have to admit he has a tad bit of potential to be a franchise quarterback. Even if you're the absolute biggest hater of the guy, you have to feel faithful that he has at least a little potential. That's where I sit on that. That's why fans are clamoring for Justin Fields. Russell Wilson, oh my God, I'd be sad. I'd be really, really sad. That wouldn't make me feel any better than a Ryan Tannehill, Kenny Pickett quarterback room, I don't think. A Russell Wilson, Kenny Pickett, no, that wouldn't make me feel any better.
Yeah, I want to clarify, I was saying I don't want Kenny Pickett to be the starter next year, but I would prefer if we just didn't pay anybody and let Kenny Pickett start again, then go out and give Russell Wilson a bag. 36-year-old Russell Wilson, who has not shown an ounce of upside in the last 2 years. I don't think that would be a good idea at all, because he's going to want money too, just because it's Russell Wilson. But yeah, I really don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think the reports of Russell Wilson, it wouldn't take much to get him. He could have a vet's minimum. Russell Wilson's going to want a bag, guys. Come on. If you haven't gathered by now, Russell Wilson, a little bit of a diva, a little bit of, thinks he's him. He's not. Sean Payton humbled him. Another team I think could take J.J. McCarthy, Broncos. Anyways, I get sidetracked right there. Yeah, let's get into Mr. Fields. On the Pat McAfee show on, I believe it was Monday, Adam Schefter was on, and they got talking about the Steelers, and he did say that Mike Tomlin is a very big fan of Justin Fields. That's not something we haven't heard before. We talked about on this podcast a couple weeks ago, me and Jack, when we first started talking about how we like Justin Fields. We think that would be fun and could be an answer. Mike Tomlin loved Justin Fields at his pro day. There's a video of it. You can go call it up. It gets me pumped. And after that, do you think the Schefter comment is the reason that the odds shifted that much? I don't think the odds would shift that much because of a simple comment from Adam Schefter.
We went from plus 1,600 to minus 125.
Exactly.
Something had to have happened. something had to have happened.
Yeah,
There had to have been actual talks of it that just haven't came out yet, because the odds wouldn't have shifted that crazy if that's just what it was. Because they also said Schefter also confirmed the Steelers were going to go out and get a quarterback. That's not on the roster right now, and he followed that by saying Tomlin loves Justin Fields. So I guess that combination, but I still don't think that would have moved the odds that much. So I think something had to have happened.
that definitely is a big shift in the odds. And I think the Schefter comment, as well as, some talks happening. If the Steelers trade for Justin Fields on March 13th, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll be pretty goddamn happy. I tell you what, I'll start breakdancing. I probably will. I'm not saying that Justin Fields is the answer. I'm not sitting here saying he's going to work out. I'm saying it's got a chance. It would be fun. He's still got a lot of potential, all for a second round pick. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about. A lot of Steelers fans, I think, are reluctant to get Fields because, it's going to cost too much, and he's, really not that much better than what we have. Like, he's better, but he's not that. I don't think people understand. The Bears have absolutely zero leverage in this situation. Like, if it was possible to have negative leverage, they have negative leverage in this situation. They're going to take Caleb Williams first overall. If they don't take Caleb Williams first overall and they stick with Justin Fields, that would be the single most ridiculous move I think I've ever seen the Bears make. And I watched them trade a second-round pick for Chase Claypool. I love Justin Fields, and I think he can work out. But I also think that Caleb Williams is really, really good at football. And I think he is going to be really, really good in the NFL. And a lot of people don't think that right now, and the media is not on his side right now. Caleb Williams is really damn good. And I think he's going to be better than Justin Fields when he steps on the field. But let's not get it twisted here. Justin Fields for the Steelers would be an immaculate upgrade. I can't even think of adjectives to describe it. And in this situation, I see mock trades where the Steelers would give up their first round pick. There's no way the Steelers give up their first round pick for Justin Fields. If they give up their first round pick for Justin Fields, I'll be a little upset. I'll be happy we have Fields, but I'll be upset that we don't have the 20th overall pick. The Bears are going to get at the most, and I mean at the absolute most, a second round pick for Justin Fields. I think that's the absolute peak.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a team that everybody on earth knows are going to take Caleb Williams. That being said, nobody's gonna be willing to give them anything for their backup quarterback. I mean, they know that the Bears want to trade Justin Fields, so the Bears 100% being in the mindset that they have to trade Justin Fields is going to make other teams be like, okay, well then we're not going to give you a first round pick. I don't know. It's just going to be a bidding war between other teams, and it's not going to go higher than a second rounder. I wouldn't think, at least.
I think a second rounder and a fourth or fifth rounder next year would be enough to get it done. I think that's a very realistic mock trade. If a team is willing to give a first rounder for Justin Fields, by all means, let them. Okay? I don't think it's worth all that. But I think for a second round pick and a late round pick next year, absolutely worth it. Another take I see all too often is Steelers fans that are against Justin Fields are like, oh, why do we want Fields? The only thing, he's better than Kenny. What does that mean? That doesn't really get us anywhere. He might be marginally better than Kenny. I don't think they're seeing that this guy can work. And I didn't watch every single Bears game last year. Who the fuck watched every single Bears game last year? I think anyone can tell from watching Justin Fields. The Bears, dysfunctional as all hell could be. Coaching staff, not great there. And that does worry me for Caleb Williams going there with Matt Eberflus as his head coach. That worries me a lot. But I'm willing to give Justin Fields another pass because of how bad the Bears organization is, because of how bad the coach is. I think with, Mike Tomlin as head coach, I don't think any quarterback fits Arthur Smith's system more than Justin Fields does right now. He wants to run the ball. You have a quarterback that can run it, who has the second most rushing yards in a season by a quarterback ever. I think it makes all too much sense.
It makes a ton of sense. I mean, Arthur Smith has been known for run-heavy offenses that have produced a crazy amount, and I mean, there's no better quarterback to start with. I mean, other than maybe Lamar Jackson, but no better realistic quarterback to start with in that situation than Justin Fields. I mean, one of the best running quarterbacks we've ever seen. Passing ability, questionable, I agree, but it's probably an upgrade from Kenny Pickett. So I don't know.
Okay, so that's our Justin Fields ramble. And a tweet from Andrew Filipponi now. Just now, breaking news. We're going to talk about this report where the Steelers might not even be looking for an outside quarterback. They don't want a free agent. They're, debating between Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett. And that was from Pro Football Talk. This is from Jerry Dulac. So this might be pretty real. This tweet from Andrew Filipponi reads, this reporting from Jerry Dulac paints a very ugly picture at quarterback. Steelers have no interest in guys like Fields, and internally some an organization want Rudolph to start over Pickett. All right, so now here's the Jerry Dulac reporting. In fact, there appears to be some internal division that maybe Mason Rudolph should be the starter after the way he finished for the 2023 season, winning the final 3 regular season games to gain entry into the playoffs. Oh, God. In any event, the Steelers are not interested in bringing a quarterback who wants to be the starter. That would include Justin Fields, Kirk Cousins, and probably even Russell Wilson, who has a connection with the Steelers. They are committed to giving Pickett a 3rd season to see if he is the guy and to do more than just win a playoff game, something they haven't done in a franchise record 7 years.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean,
what?
My question with it is, does it matter if there's internal division if Rudolph doesn't want to come back?
No. And
right.
That's kind of where this all sort of falls apart. You may not be interested in bringing an outside guy back, and you may want Rudolph back. Let's face it, the Steelers are not going to pay Rudolph jack shit. They're not going to pay him what he wants. I do think he could command some money in free agency. I could be wrong, but I think he's going to command a decent amount of money. If he leaves and you're stuck with you don't want a Fields, Cousins, or Wilson, and you're bringing in like what? Best case scenario, Jacoby Brissett or Ryan Tannehill and Kenny Pickett. What are you even trying to do? Genuinely, what's the best outcome possible with those two at quarterback?
If Kenny Pickett starts the whole season, I think the best outcome is we win a playoff game. Like we get like the 6 or 7 and I don't know. Yeah, we get like the 6 or 7 and upset the team in the first round of the playoffs. I don't know.
I don't think there's a world in which we upset a team like the Bills or the Texans, who are going to be those 2 or 3 seeds.
I think we were just much more capable as a team, like as a whole, after we fired Matt Canada. Aside from the portion where Mitch Trubisky
I would agree.
I think we were a very much capable team that we could have beat the Bills in the playoffs. We could have if it weren't for stupid mistakes in the first half that we made. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to get the 6 seed and beat the 3 seed if it's like the Bengals or Ravens or something.
Now, if it's a divisional game, I think that's a whole different story, and I think we could win one of those games. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been labeled one of the biggest Kenny Pickett haters, and I'll wear that proudly. Fine by me. I don't see a reason to give him another year. Genuinely, I don't think that has a good outcome. You need to move on. You need to. We know I've seen 25 games of nothing. I want to see something. I want to feel something. I'm really upset by these reports. I need free agency now. I need to have answers. If the quarterback room is going to be, Ryan Tannehill and Kenny Pickett, or Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett, I think I would be happiest if Mason was back, because at least I know what Mason can do. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. If Mason gets signed back, I wouldn't be extremely happy, but I don't know. Dude, this is depressing. I hate quarterback hell.
It's the worst. It's
I hate it.
It's purgatory for an organization.
I didn't know that 7 years is the longest the Steelers have ever gone without a playoff win. I didn't know that.
Crazy.
That is kind of crazy. That's a lot of success, but man, we suck.
Yeah.
We suck right now. But Jack, that was a good episode. I think we did very good.
Great
We covered a lot. Free agent wish list coming soon, definitely. Tommy Townsend will be at the top of my list. Justin Fields, Steelers soon. Please, Omar Khan. Please. Please, please, please. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Seriously, support is great as always. Let us know what you want to see us talk about next week. Give us some weekly topics to talk about so we can rant and rave about. We'll be back here next week on the Standard.